If your heart is heavy today, if you are carrying the silent weight of a day that felt too long, too demanding, or perhaps just too empty, please know this: you're exactly where you need to be. This space was made for souls seeking a gentle whisper in the chaos, a moment to breathe and remember that even when everything else feels uncertain, hope is not a fragile thing. Hope is an anchor, and it is here, waiting for you in the quiet certainty of God's presence. Just take a deep breath. Let the noise fade away. Forget for a moment the relentless need to be strong, to have all the answers, to push forward when your spirit is asking for rest. You don't have to carry it all. The invitation today is simple. Surrender your weariness, offer up your confusion, and let the ancient comforting wisdom flow over you, not as a demanding doctrine, but as a soothing balm for a tired heart. We are not here to debate or decipher the deep mysteries of the universe. We are simply here to hold still, to listen to the kind voice of the shepherd who knows your name and the exact terrain of your soul. We begin this journey together, walking into the heart of timeless truth, seeking not just knowledge, but an intimate, sustaining peace. This is your moment to unplug, to be truly present, and to recognize that the strength you are seeking often begins in the quiet act of receiving. Settle in. Let's start with a prayer, a genuine conversation spoken not just with the mind, but with the deepest places of the heart. Father of all comfort, we come to you, not because we are perfectly composed or suddenly sure of our next step, but because we are utterly human. We are here with our messy days and our silent fears. We thank you, Lord, for this quiet moment, this sacred pause in the rush of life. Let your word tonight be a gentle hand on our shoulder, a lamp not just for the path ahead, but for the very next step beneath our feet. Speak peace to the anxious parts of our spirit. Bring direction where there is only fog. And above all, stay with us, Father. Stay with us through the rest of this day and through the long, quiet hours of the night until the new light breaks. May the wisdom we receive shape our lives, not with harsh correction, but with a loving, sustaining truth. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Now let's open our hearts to the enduring wisdom, the kind of counsel that was carved not by fleeting fashion or temporary trends, but by the very hand of God. We turn to a book filled with guidance, a treasury designed to help us navigate the complicated pathways of human experience. This wisdom is presented to us like an inheritance, a precious gift passed down from a Father who knows every temptation and every trial we face. It's here to grant us not just information, but the very tools we need for living a life that is upright, just, and fair. It's a call for prudence, a deep, practical sense, given especially to those who feel simple, lost, or young in their understanding. It invites the wise among us to listen even closer, to add to their learning, and to find guidance in the understanding of proverbs, parables, and the beautiful riddles of the wise. The very core of this entire teaching, the bedrock principle that supports everything else, is profoundly simple, yet utterly life-changing. The fear of the Lord is the true beginning of knowledge, not a paralyzing terror, mind you, but a reverent awe, a profound respect that acknowledges the Creator's place and our own. Those who scoff at this, those who foolishly choose to despise wisdom and instruction, are simply missing the foundation. They build their lives on sand, mistaking arrogance for insight. Listen, my friend, like a son or daughter to the instruction of a loving parent, and do not turn away from the gentle teaching that guides you. This wisdom is not a burden, it is an adornment. It's a beautiful garland to grace your head, and a chain, a strong, precious link to hang around your neck, signifying honor and dignity. But life, we know, presents choices that are rarely so straightforward. There is a constant, subtle pull towards shortcuts, towards compromises. If sinful voices try to entice you into their ways, whispering promises of quick gain or secret thrills, do not, absolutely do not, give in to them. Imagine the allure of those who say, "Come with us, let's wait in the shadows for something innocent to pass by. Let's ambush the harmless. We will consume them completely, swallow them up in our schemes like the grave consumes the body. We will gather all sorts of valuable, ill-gotten treasure, filling our homes with plunder. Join our lot, cast your fate with ours, and we will all share the secret loot." The temptation is strong because it speaks to a desire for easy reward, for a sense of belonging in the shadows. But this path is a mirage. My heart is urging you now, gently yet firmly, do not walk along with them. Do not even set foot on their paths. Why? Because their feet rush headlong into what is evil. They are swift to shed blood, to cause injury, to dismantle the lives of others, and ultimately their own. Think of it, how utterly pointless it is to spread a trap, to lay a snare right in the wide open, where every bird can see it. Yet these wicked people are doing precisely that, only they are lying in wait for their own destruction. They are ambushing no one but themselves. Such is the tragic end of all who pursue ill-gotten gain. In the end, it extracts not just their wealth, but their very life, their soul, their future. The price is always too high. Now picture wisdom itself. It's not a dusty book hidden away, but a vibrant, living entity. Wisdom is calling out in the open air. She raises her clear, unmistakable voice in the public square, at the highest point of the city walls, crying out right at the city gate where the people gather. She makes her urgent appeal to everyone. How long, you who are simple and inexperienced, will you continue to love your simple ways? How long will you allow mockers to delight in their mockery, and fools to persist in hating true knowledge? This is the moment of choice. She pleads, turn around. Repent at the sound of my gentle rebuke. If you do, I will pour out my innermost thoughts to you. I will make all my teachings clear and known to you. But the warning, too, is sober and real. If you persist in refusing to listen when she calls, if you pay no attention when she stretches out her welcoming hand, if you dismiss all her advice and completely refuse her loving correction, then a terrible inversion will occur. When disaster finally strikes you, and calamity is certain to overtake those who ignore her, she will stand aloof. She will laugh when your storm hits. She will mock when the whirlwind of destruction sweeps over you. When distress and deep trouble finally overwhelm you, then, in that dark hour, they will call out for her. But she will not answer. They will search desperately, but they will not find her. Why? Because they willingly chose to hate genuine knowledge. They actively refused to choose the fear of the Lord. They would not accept her counsel. They stubbornly spurned her necessary correction. And in the tragic, unchangeable reality of divine justice, they will be left to eat the bitter fruit of their own self-chosen path, filled only with the poisoned consequences of their own destructive schemes. The stubbornness of the simple-minded will be their ruin, and the complacent, lazy security of fools will utterly destroy them. But hear the beautiful alternative, the comforting truth that is always available. Whoever pauses to listen to wisdom will live securely. They will be at ease in the soul, utterly free from the paralyzing fear of any harm, resting in a peace that the world cannot take away. My son, my daughter, if you choose to accept my words now, and if you truly resolve to treasure up my commands deep within your spirit, consciously turning your ear towards the counsel of wisdom, and diligently applying your entire heart to understanding, if you genuinely cry out for insight and raise your voice aloud, searching for understanding, and if you seek it out with the passionate intensity of someone looking for silver, and you search for it like a prospector seeking hidden, buried treasure, then, and only then, will you begin to truly understand the deep, reverent fear of the Lord. You will not only find it, but you will discover the intimate, transforming knowledge of God, because the Lord himself is the true giver of this all-important wisdom. From his mouth flow knowledge and understanding in a ceaseless river. He does not just give a little. He holds success, abundant and secure, in waiting for those whose lives are upright. He stands as a mighty, impenetrable shield to all whose way of life is blameless, perfectly guarding the course of the truly just and actively protecting the very path of his faithful, beloved ones. When you walk in this wisdom, then your eyes will be opened. You will understand clearly what is truly right and what is just and fair, and you will recognize every truly good and righteous path. For when this divine wisdom finally enters your heart, and the living knowledge of God becomes truly pleasant and sweet to your soul, then something profound happens. The spiritual tools of discretion and understanding will rise up like faithful guardians. Discretion will actively protect you from sudden error, and understanding will stand guard, keeping you safe from the invisible snares of the enemy. Wisdom is the only thing that can truly save you from the crooked, dark ways of wicked men, from those whose words are perverse and twisted, who have willingly abandoned the straight, clear paths to choose a life that walks in deep, self-imposed darkness. These are the people who shockingly take delight in actively doing wrong, who secretly rejoice in the sheer perversity of evil itself. Their paths are always crooked, never straight, and their every way is profoundly devious and misleading. But wisdom also saves you from another, equally perilous path, the snare of the seductive, wayward voice, often personified as the adulterous woman. She speaks with smooth, alluring, seemingly innocent words, a person who has completely abandoned the faithful partner of her youth and willfully chosen to ignore the sacred covenant she made before God, the bond of fidelity and truth. Be warned, her house, however inviting it may appear from the outside, leads downward. Her path is a direct route to the chilling spirits of the dead. It is a one-way street. None who follow her deeply entrenched path ever truly return to attain the fulfilling, vibrant paths of true life. Therefore, by clinging to the hand of wisdom, you will be able to consciously walk only in the true ways of the good, keeping your feet firmly fixed on the enduring paths of the truly righteous. For the upright, those whose souls are in alignment with God, will live securely and meaningfully in the land, and those who are truly blameless will remain rooted and unshakable in it. But conversely, the wicked, those who choose defiance over devotion, will inevitably be cut off from the true life and abundance of the land, and the unfaithful, those who willingly break their covenant, will be violently torn from it, leaving only a memory of their brief, destructive folly. The path is always clear. The choice, however, is eternally yours. Senhor, que a tua luz brilhe intensamente nas partes da nossa vida que ainda estão em sombra. Nós te entregamos o nosso cansaço e pedimos a força da tua sabedoria para a próxima jornada. Amém. Before we continue on this journey of wisdom, a quick, sincere invitation from my heart to yours. If the quiet comfort and truth in these words have settled your spirit even a little, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your simple act of joining this community helps us reach more hearts that are searching for peace right now. We are building a sanctuary of sound, a place where people can always find rest in God's Word. And because this journey is about deep, genuine connection, I have a gentle request for you. In the comments below, don't just tell me what you learned, tell me what you will do with it. What is one small, simple action you will take today? Perhaps forgiving a minor offense, choosing patience over irritation, or pausing for 5 minutes to pray because of the wisdom you've just heard. Let's make this wisdom a living, breathing reality together. We now continue our deep dive into the wellspring of life-giving truth. My son, my daughter, do not ever allow my teaching to slip from your memory, even for a moment. Instead, consciously and fiercely, keep my commands locked securely within the deep, secret places of your heart. For these truths, these guiding principles, are not abstract ideas. They are active, living things. They will profoundly prolong your physical life for many good, meaningful years, and they will consistently bring you a stable, deep-seated peace and a lasting prosperity that money cannot buy. Let the twin virtues of faithful love and unwavering faithfulness become the defining characteristics of your entire existence. Never, ever let them leave your side. Bind them constantly around your neck like a valuable piece of identifying jewelry, and consciously write them indelibly on the tablet of your own responsive heart. If you live this way, centered in love and faithfulness, then you will not only win deep favor, but also cultivate a good, honorable name, both in the discerning sight of God and in the world of human interaction. The next step is the most radical, the most liberating, the most essential of all. Trust completely in the Lord with every fiber of your being, with all your heart. And critically, do not ever rely on your own limited, temporary understanding. It is a simple mandate, yet one we so often fail to grasp. In all your ways, in every choice, in every moment, consciously and deliberately submit yourself and your plans to Him. Acknowledge His sovereignty. And what is His promise in return? A breathtaking assurance. He Himself will personally make your path straight, clearing the obstacles, removing the fog, and ensuring your steps are purposeful and true. Do not fall into the trap of becoming wise in your own eyes, convinced of your own superior judgment. Instead, actively fear the Lord, that profound, reverent awe, and make the conscious, daily decision to shun all that is evil. This posture of humility and devotion is not self-denial. It is the truest form of self-care. It will bring active, healing health and vitality to your physical body, and a deep, refreshing nourishment to the very marrow of your bones, revitalizing your whole being from the inside out. Now let your gratitude become tangible. Honor the Lord with your precious wealth, with the very first and best portion, the first fruits of all your crops, of all your labor, of all your income. Do not wait until you have leftovers. Give Him the first and the best. Do this, and a magnificent promise unfolds. Your storage barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will be brimming over with the freshest, most vibrant new wine, a symbol of abundant, unearned favor. My son, my daughter, do not ever look down on the Lord's necessary loving discipline. Do not, under any circumstances, grow bitter or resentful when you feel the sting of his needed rebuke. Remember this profound, comforting truth. The Lord actively disciplines the ones he deeply loves, just as a caring, devoted father disciplines the beloved son in whom he takes sincere delight. Therefore, blessed, truly, profoundly blessed, are the ones who make the conscious effort to find wisdom. Blessed are those who genuinely strive to gain deep, lasting understanding. For the wisdom we speak of, the guidance of the eternal God, is far more reliably profitable than the purest, unblemished silver. It yields returns that are far superior and better than the finest, most sought-after gold. Wisdom, when you truly consider its value, is more precious and rare than any ruby or gemstone. Absolutely nothing you could ever desire or pursue in this temporary life can even begin to compare with the lasting treasure of her presence. In her faithful, strong right hand, you will find a long, meaningful life, richly filled with purpose and connection. And in her left hand, you will find enduring riches and true honor that will never fade. Her chosen ways are consistently pleasant, bringing deep satisfaction, and every single one of her paths is a pathway to stable, enduring peace. She is not merely a path. She is a living, breathing tree of life to all those who make the conscious effort to take hold of her, to cling to her truth, and those who hold her fast, who commit their lives to her principles, will be profoundly, continuously blessed. Think about the sheer power and creative certainty of God. It was by this same infinite wisdom that the Lord himself firmly laid the earth's immutable foundations. It was by his complete understanding that he sovereignly set the unmoving heavens in their exact intended place. By his expansive knowledge, the watery depths, the immense, chaotic ocean, were actively divided and contained, and the soft, life-giving clouds were compelled to drop the gentle, nourishing dew upon the thirsty ground. My son, my daughter, let this essential wisdom and profound understanding never escape the vigilance of your sight. Fiercely preserve sound, practical judgment, and true spiritual discretion in your daily living. For these are not simply abstract ideas. They will become tangible, real life for you. They will be like a visible ornament, a thing of beauty and honor, constantly gracing your neck for all to see. If you hold them close, then you will walk securely on your chosen way, completely confident and stable, and your foot will not ever stumble or be trapped. When you finally lie down to rest at night, you will not be plagued by terror or worry. you will be wholly unafraid. And when you close your eyes, your deeply needed sleep will be sweet and deeply refreshing, restoring your weary soul. Have no need, have no fear of any sudden, unexpected disaster, or of the inevitable ruin that will certainly overtake the wicked. For the ever-present Lord will actively stand at your side, a constant, immovable guardian, and he will actively keep your foot from being painfully ensnared by the hidden traps of the enemy. Now, let's turn to the necessary practicalities of true wisdom, the visible outworking of a heart aligned with God. Do not ever willfully withhold necessary good from any person to whom it is justly due, especially when it is physically within your power, within your immediate capacity to perform that good act. Do not play games or postpone kindness. Do not ever say to your struggling neighbor, "Come back tomorrow, and then I'll give it to you," when you genuinely and immediately have what they need with you in that very moment. Kindness must be immediate. Do not waste your energy plotting any harm against your neighbor, especially a person who lives trustingly, innocently near you, depending on your goodwill and stability. Do not, on a whim or out of personal malice, accuse anyone, especially when they have committed absolutely no harm against you. And here is a difficult, yet crucial command for the human heart. Do not allow yourself to envy those who are openly violent. Do not choose any of their seemingly successful ways, however appealing their temporary power may seem. Why? Because the Lord absolutely detests the perverse, the twisted, those who live in opposition to him. But in a profound act of grace, he takes the upright, the stable and true, into his immediate sacred confidence. The Lord's terrifying curse is actively upon the very house of the wicked, marking it for ruin, but with boundless love, he actively blesses the humble, peaceful home of the truly righteous. He utterly mocks and dismisses the proud, arrogant mockers, but he consistently and graciously shows deep favor to the humble and the truly oppressed. The truly wise will inherit an enduring honor that lasts generations, but fools, in their arrogance and rejection of truth, will ultimately gain nothing but inevitable shame. Listen closely, my children, my cherished sons and daughters, to this gentle but firm instruction from a father's loving heart. Pay profound attention and work diligently to gain deep, lasting understanding. I am offering you freely sound and necessary learning, so do not, under any circumstance, forsake the guiding truth of my teaching. For I myself, the one speaking these words, was once a young, simple son to my father, still tender and dearly cherished in the eyes of my own mother. And he, in turn, taught me and said to me with all sincerity, "Take hold of my life-giving words with every fiber of your being, with your whole heart. Fiercely keep my commands deep within your memory, and you will truly live a full, meaningful life. Above all things, strive to get wisdom. Work actively to get understanding. Do not ever forget my words or consciously choose to turn away from the clear path they offer you. Do not willfully forsake wisdom, and she will, in return, actively protect you from all harm. Love her presence in your life, and she will faithfully watch over your soul. The starting point of all true, lasting wisdom is this single, unmoving mandate: get wisdom. Though it may cost you everything you temporarily possess, though it may demand your pride and your stubbornness, get understanding. Cherish her deeply in the secret places of your heart, and she, in turn, will profoundly exalt you in the eyes of all. Embrace her presence and her principles in your daily life, and she will consistently bestow true, lasting honor upon you. She will actively give you a beautifully crafted garland to visibly grace your head, and she will present you with a truly glorious, enduring crown of true worth. Listen again, my son, my daughter, and deeply accept what I am sincerely saying to you, and the meaningful, purposeful years of your life will be abundantly multiplied. I am instructing and guiding you personally in the vital way of true wisdom, and I am actively leading you along the smooth, straight, safest paths. When you choose to walk in them, your steps will never be painfully hampered or tragically stopped. When you choose to run, even through adversity, you will not stumble or fall in darkness. Therefore, hold fast to instruction. Do not ever let it go. Guard it diligently and well, for this instruction is not just a lesson. It is the very essence of your life, your breath, your future. Do not ever set a single foot on the dark, enticing path of the wicked. Do not actively choose to walk in the seductive way of evildoers. Avoid it completely. Do not even take a single tempting step onto it. Consciously turn away from that path, and then immediately go onward on your true way. For those who choose that darkness, the wicked, cannot find any rest until they have successfully accomplished some evil. They are literally robbed of their peace and sleep until they have managed to make some innocent person stumble and fall. They feed constantly. They eat the bread of sheer wickedness, and they drink compulsively the wine of violence. This is their sustenance, their twisted reality. But look at the profound contrast, the beauty of the alternative. The true, clear path of the righteous is like the quiet, beautiful morning sun, shining ever brighter, steadily, consistently, until it reaches the full, perfect light of the established day. But the chosen way of the wicked is like a deep, suffocating darkness. They stumble and fall often, tragically, and they are so blinded they do not even truly know what it is that causes them to fall. It is a terrifying self-imposed blindness. My son, my daughter, I implore you, pay close attention to the essential things I am actively saying. Turn your ready ear completely to my urgent, life-giving words. Do not allow them to ever leave your keen sight. Keep them locked securely and deeply within the very center of your responsive heart. For these words, these truths, are not just ink on a page. They are active, vibrant life to all those who genuinely find them. And they are vital, holistic health to one's entire body, revitalizing every part of your being. And above all, beyond all advice and instruction, guard your heart with a fierce, unwavering diligence. Why? Because everything you actively do, every single action, decision, and reaction flows directly from that secret, central, vital place. Keep your mouth absolutely free of all perversity, all things twisted or manipulative. Consciously keep corrupt, degrading talk far away from your guiding lips. Let your focus be true and fixed. Let your discerning eyes look straight ahead, not glancing sideways at temptation or backward at regret. Fix your attentive gaze directly before you, focusing on the prize. Give careful, unhurried thought to the exact path for your walking feet, and then be steadfast, be immovable, be purposeful in all your chosen ways. Do not allow yourself to turn either to the right or to the left, pulled by distractions. Simply keep your focused foot away from all that is evil and distracting. My son, my daughter, pay conscious, focused attention to my deep wisdom. Turn your ready ear to my powerful words of vital insight. Why is this necessary? So that you may diligently maintain true discretion, that practical protective wisdom, and so that your very lips may faithfully preserve true, necessary knowledge. For once again, the temptation is pervasive and subtly alluring. The smooth, seemingly innocent lips of the wayward, adulterous voice drip sweet honey, and her carefully chosen speech is smoother and more appealing than the finest, most expensive oil. But without fail, in the tragic end, she will be found to be as bitter and destructive as a poisonous gall, as sharp and lethal as a double-edged sword that cuts deeply into the soul. Her active feet lead rapidly downward, directly to death. Her confident steps are marching straight to the grave, the final resting place of all who disregard this vital wisdom. She never gives any thought, any serious consideration to the path of life. Her ways wander aimlessly, yet confidently, but she is so self-deluded that she does not even realize the danger she is in. Now then, my beloved children, listen carefully to my urgent warning. Do not consciously turn aside from the path I am clearly describing. Keep your focused attention on a path that is far, far away from her influence. Do not ever approach or go near the very door of her house, the place of temptation. If you do, You risk losing your precious honor to others, that invaluable, lasting dignity to someone who is actively cruel and uncaring. You risk allowing strangers, those you do not even know, to feast wantonly on your accumulated wealth, allowing your hard, honest toil to unjustly enrich the house of another, a person who will never thank you for it. And here is the heartbreaking reality. At the unavoidable end of your misspent life, when your physical flesh and your exhausted body are finally spent, you will deeply groan and cry out in terrible regret. You will say in that moment of final clarity, "Oh, how I deeply hated discipline, how my stubborn, prideful heart rejected all necessary correction. I consciously refused to obey the guiding voices of my teachers, and I never turned my ready ear to the necessary instruction of my honest instructors. And look at me now. I was very soon in the most serious, inescapable trouble in the middle of the assembly of God's gathered people." The clear message for your personal, intimate life is this: drink your needed water from your own safe cistern. Be fully satisfied. Find your deepest, most refreshing nourishment and joy from the running water, the true, vital stream, from your own well, the dedicated, faithful partner in your life. Why should your own personal, intimate springs overflow publicly into the wide streets? Why should your own dedicated, private streams of true water be freely and carelessly shared in the public squares? Let the pure, sacred water, the intimate joy, be absolutely yours alone, never, ever to be recklessly shared with strangers who have no right to it. May your truly faithful fountain, your source of purest joy, be profoundly blessed, and may you find lasting, deep satisfaction. May you continuously rejoice in the loyal wife of your youth. She is like a loving, graceful, beautiful doe, a gentle, elegant deer. May her love, her faithful presence, satisfy you completely always. May you ever be truly intoxicated, deeply filled and captivated with the constant joy of her sustaining love. Why, my friend, my son, should you ever choose to be captivated and truly intoxicated with the temporary, empty allure of another man's wife? Why would you ever choose to embrace the shallow, destructive presence, the bosom of a woman who is wayward and unfaithful to her covenant? It is an act of profound self-destruction. The reason this counsel is so critical, so urgent, is simple yet terrifying. Your most private ways, your every secret action and intention are constantly and completely in the full, unwavering view of the Lord. He actively examines and weighs every single one of your paths, assessing your choices with perfect justice and knowledge. The wicked and destructive evil deeds of the unfaithful inevitably become a powerful snare that actively traps them. The very cords, the binding power of their own self-chosen sins hold them fast and immovable. They will tragically and certainly die for their profound and willful lack of discipline, the stubborn refusal to accept correction, and they will be eternally led astray by the immense, devastating folly of their own making. It is a slow, painful, self-inflicted ruin. Let us now consider the practical, day-to-day choices that determine our stability and peace. My son, if you have, in a moment of thoughtless generosity or misplaced confidence, put up security for your trusted neighbor, if you have impulsively shaken hands and pledged your own considerable assets for a stranger who may not be trustworthy, understand this: you have, by the sheer power of your spoken words, been powerfully trapped by what you casually said. You have become immediately ensnared by the binding words that came out of your very own mouth. Therefore, my son, listen to this urgent instruction and execute it immediately to free yourself completely, since you have, by your own decision, fallen directly into the hands of your neighbor, the one to whom you are now bound. Go immediately to the point of utter exhaustion. Do not stop, and actively give your neighbor absolutely no rest or pause. Allow no sleep to settle upon your vigilant eyes, and absolutely no slumber to close your eyelids. Act immediately, freeing yourself completely, like a small, terrified gazelle desperately escaping from the fierce, deadly grip of the hunter, or like an innocent, panicked bird breaking free from the tight, paralyzing snare of the fowler. Your liberty and peace are paramount. Now consider the profound yet simple example of the smallest creatures. Go to the ant, you who are lazy and full of self-pity, you sluggard. Observe closely its ways and deliberately choose to become wise. The ant has absolutely no commander, no overseer, and no ruling authority over it. Yet, with pure, disciplined instinct, it diligently stores its necessary provisions during the abundant, fertile summer, and purposefully gathers its vital food during the demanding, active harvest season. The ant operates on a principle of immediate, future-focused preparation. The question must be asked: how long then will you continue to lie there, you sluggard, wasting the precious hours? When, finally, will you choose to get up and rise from your self-indulgent sleep? The cycle is predictable and devastating. A little sleep, a little more slumber, a little more folding of the hands merely to rest, and suddenly, without warning, devastating poverty will violently come upon you like a stealthy, inescapable thief, and painful, crushing scarcity will descend upon you like a heavily armed man, a powerful, unstoppable force. There is another type of destruction entirely, a human troublemaker, a true villain, a person who walks around with a fundamentally corrupt mouth, whose very essence is deceit. This person winks maliciously and cunningly with their eyes, constantly signals hidden intentions with their feet, and actively makes secretive motions with their fingers This is a person who consciously plots deep evil, with constant deceit active in their heart, and they relentlessly stir up harmful, bitter conflict in every situation they enter. Because they choose this path, sudden, inevitable disaster will violently overtake them in an instant. They will be immediately and completely destroyed, without any hope of remedy or rescue. The path of deceit always leads to a sudden, violent, irreversible end. Now consider what the righteous God, the foundation of all truth, actively detests. There are 6 specific, repulsive things the Lord absolutely hates. Indeed, there are 7 things that are utterly detestable and repulsive to his pure being. First, haughty, arrogant eyes, the look of profound pride and self-worship. Second, a lying, manipulative tongue, the instrument of deceit. Third, hands that consciously shed innocent blood, the act of brutal, premeditated violence. Fourth, a heart that constantly devises wicked, destructive schemes, the source of all evil intentions. Fifth, feet that are tragically quick to rush headlong into the path of evil, the eagerness to sin. Sixth, a false witness who consciously pours out torrents of lies, the corruption of truth and justice. And seventh, a person who relentlessly, maliciously stirs up bitter conflict, the destroyer of community and peace. These 7 are the visible signs of a soul in complete rebellion against the natural and spiritual order. My son, keep these essential commands of your Father, and do not ever willfully forsake the true guiding teaching of your devoted mother. Bind these precious instructions constantly upon the very core of your heart, making them an inseparable part of your being. Fasten them visibly around your neck as a sign of your identity and your commitment. When you actively walk, they will lovingly and clearly guide your every step. When you finally sleep, they will faithfully watch over your unconscious self. And when you awake at the dawn, they will actively speak necessary truth to you. For this divine command is not restrictive. It is a bright, clear lamp. This consistent teaching is a comforting, stable light, and the necessary correction and instruction they offer are the only true way to abundant, eternal life. These truths will constantly keep you safe, specifically guarding you from the persistent, subtle temptation posed by your neighbor's wife, from the dangerously smooth, seductive talk of a wayward, self-serving woman. Do not, even for a moment, allow lust to ignite within your heart after her surface beauty, and do not let her captivating, tempting eyes ensnare and hypnotize you. For the harsh, cold reality is this: a prostitute can, unfortunately, be had for the mere price of a loaf of cheap bread. But the reckless pursuit of another man's dedicated wife actively preys and consumes your very life, your soul, your future. Here are the questions of consequence. the natural laws of cause and effect. Can a man possibly scoop up a scorching, dangerous fire into his loose lap without his necessary clothes being immediately and painfully burned? Can a man willingly choose to walk barefoot on hot, agonizing coals without his feet being severely scorched and injured? The answer, of course, is a resounding no. The consequence is immediate and inevitable. So is the tragic, painful end of anyone who chooses to sleep with another man's wife, breaking the sacred, protective covenant. No one, absolutely no one, who recklessly touches her will go unpunished. No law can circumvent the spiritual consequence. People generally do not despise a thief who steals to desperately satisfy his hunger when he's genuinely starving and has no other option. Yet, even if that desperate thief is caught in the act, he must still repay the loss sevenfold, even if it painfully costs him the entirety of the wealth of his entire household. The law demands justice, but the man who willingly and consciously commits the sin of adultery with the wife of another has completely lost his common sense. He has actively destroyed the stability of his own soul. Whoever chooses to do such a devastating thing is essentially destroying his very self. Painful blows and public disgrace are his bitter, inevitable lot, and the shame and irreversible ruin he brings upon himself will never, ever be wiped away or forgotten. Why? Because the burning fire of raw jealousy arouses a dedicated husband's ultimate fury, and in his moment of deep revenge and profound, justified anger, he will absolutely show no mercy or understanding. He will not, under any circumstance, accept any form of compensation or payment. He will completely and utterly refuse any bribe, however tempting or great the financial offer may be. The honor of his life and his marriage has been utterly devastated. My son, listen again, and let this truth sink deeply into your soul. Fiercely keep my life-giving words, and diligently store up my commands securely within the protective walls of your heart. Consciously keep my true commands, and you will not only survive but truly live in abundance. Guard my profound teachings as vigilantly and as preciously as you would guard the very apple of your eye, the most vulnerable, most valuable part of your physical being. Bind these truths securely upon your active fingers and consciously write them indelibly on the precious tablet of your own responsive heart. Say with complete conviction, constantly, to wisdom itself, "You are my sister," and say to true, practical insight, "You are my trusted relative, my constant companion." This posture of profound respect and intimate relationship will actively and reliably keep you completely safe from the persistent, alluring threat of the adulterous woman, reliably guarding you from the wayward woman who speaks with deceptively smooth and seductive words. Picture the tragic scene, a common, painful occurrence. At the window of my own house, The watchman says, I once looked down through the sheltering lattice. I clearly saw among the common, simple people. I noticed, specifically among the young men, a particular youth who possessed absolutely no common sense, no practical wisdom. He was willingly going down the street right near her dark corner, walking confidently along in the direct path and direction of her seductive house. It was at twilight, just as the bright, protective light of the day was actively fading, just as the deep, silent darkness of night was setting in, that the scene unfolded. And then, at that precise tempting moment, out came the waiting woman to meet him. She was dressed like a purposeful prostitute and was filled with cunning, destructive intent. She is inherently unruly, chaotic, and openly defiant of all order. Her restless, unsatisfied feet never, ever truly stay at home. You can always find her, now active in the street, now prominently displayed in the public squares, lurking deceptively at every single corner, waiting patiently for her prey. She physically took strong hold of the naive youth and immediately kissed him, and with a brazen, shameless face, she spoke her carefully prepared words. She said, "Today, I have meticulously fulfilled all my religious vows, and I have the required food from my fellowship offering safely here at home. So you see, I came out specifically to meet you. I looked actively and personally for you, and look, I have found you now. I have prepared and covered my bed with colored, expensive linens imported from Egypt. I have powerfully perfumed my entire bed with the most alluring, rare scents: myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come now, let us drink deeply, unrestrainedly, of the wine of illicit love until the bright morning. Let us fully and completely enjoy ourselves with this forbidden love. Don't worry, my own husband is absolutely not at home. He has gone on a long, extended journey far away. He took his purse, securely filled with the necessary travel money, and he will absolutely not be home until the full, late moon. With these carefully chosen, persuasive words, she completely led him astray. She actively seduced and consumed his every thought with her smooth, manipulative, confident talk. And all at once, in a moment of pure, blinding folly, he followed her, exactly and willingly, like a docile ox being led directly to the slaughterhouse. He followed her like a nervous, unsuspecting deer stepping blindly into a hidden noose, completely unaware of the danger, until a piercing, unexpected arrow finally strikes deep into his liver, the very seat of his life. He was like a frantic, confused bird darting immediately and carelessly into a ready snare, absolutely unaware, little knowing that this fatal, momentary decision would ultimately cost him his very life, his eternal soul. Now then, my sons, my daughters, listen closely to my final desperate plea. Pay profound attention to the serious message I am conveying to you. Do not ever consciously allow your responsive heart to turn to her deceptive, ruinous ways. Do not, under any circumstance, stray even a single step into her well-worn paths. Remember the tragic reality. Many, a mighty silent throng, are the victims she has already mercilessly brought down. Her slain, those whose lives she has devastated, are countless. Be warned. Her house, however inviting the lights may be, is not a home. It is an active highway leading directly to the inescapable grave, a dark road leading straight down to the permanent chambers of eternal death. Does not wisdom itself powerfully call out in the open air? Does not understanding raise her clear, compelling voice from the highest points of the city? She is standing confidently at the crossroads, right at the busiest, noisiest place where the diverse pathways meet, at the entrance leading into the city, where the busy gates stand. There she takes her firm stand and tirelessly cries aloud, not to a secret, select few, but to all who will listen. To you, O people, I urgently call, she declares with divine authority. My voice, my guiding message, is directed to all mankind, to the simple and the great, the young and the aged. This call is not hidden. It is not esoteric. It is direct and utterly accessible. You who are simple and inexperienced, you who feel lost in the complexity of life, learn what it is to be truly prudent. You who are fools, you who mistake arrogance for truth, learn what it is to possess a deep, discerning heart and lasting, practical common sense. Listen closely and let your spirit be attentive, for I will speak of truly noble, eternal things, and from my opened lips will flow only what is absolutely right and profoundly true. My mouth is the eternal wellspring of truth, and wickedness, perversion, and manipulation are utterly detestable and repulsive to my very being. All the words that come from my divine mouth are absolutely righteous and true. None of them are twisted, deceptive, or perverse. For those who are wise and those who genuinely find knowledge, every single one of my sayings is perfectly clear. They are easily understood and readily embraced by those who seek out true instruction. Do not pursue or accept temporary silver, which is valuable but fleeting. Instead, choose my powerful instruction, which is eternally more precious. Do not chase after expensive, perishable gold. Rather, seek true, life-altering knowledge instead of the finest, most sought-after choice gold. For true wisdom is infinitely better and more valuable than the most exquisite, rare rubies, and absolutely nothing you could possibly desire or pursue can ever be truly compared with the sheer, sustaining worth of her presence. I, wisdom, stand completely and purposefully in the company of prudence. I have actively found and possess knowledge and the essential, practical discretion needed for daily living. To truly fear the Lord, that deep, reverent awe and respect, is to absolutely hate all forms of evil. I utterly despise and hold in contempt both stubborn pride and arrogance, the twisted path of profound evil, and the utter duplicity and deceit of a perverse mouth. Counsel, the ability to guide and direct, and sound, practical judgment are inherently mine. I possess both vital understanding and the boundless, enduring power that sustains all creation. By my eternal, immutable power, absolute kings sovereignly reign, and all rulers rightfully issue and enforce just and necessary decrees. By my guiding power, all devoted princes rightfully govern, as do all nobles and every single one of the righteous and true judges of the earth. I profoundly love those who actively and earnestly love me, and those who genuinely seek me, who pursue my truth with focus and persistence, will inevitably and certainly find me. With me, with my presence, are true, enduring riches and lasting, deep honor, the kind of wealth that will never fade, and true prosperity that is both lasting and utterly righteous. My promised fruit is infinitely better than the most valuable, precious gold, even the purest of unadulterated gold. What I yield and return is far better and more reliable than the finest, most sought-after silver. I walk confidently in the true, clear paths of lasting righteousness, holding fast along the stable, straight paths of sheer justice, actively enriching those who truly and faithfully love me, and ensuring that their sacred, hidden treasuries are filled to absolute overflowing. I was there. I was brought forth by the Lord as the very first and most profound act of his creative work, the very first of his ancient, powerful deeds. I was appointed, established from everlasting, from the very beginning of all things, before the earth's existence. I was there, brought forth like a child, when there were absolutely no deep oceans yet, when there were no fountains actively flowing with their immense store of water. I was already established before the giant mountains were purposefully settled in their intended place, before the massive, rolling hills were firmly fixed. When God had not yet actively created the earth, nor any of its abundant fields, nor the very dust of the planet, I was already there. When God actively set the clear, vast heavens in their place, when he consciously fixed a circular horizon on the immense surface of the deep ocean, when he actively established the immovable, powerful clouds above, and when he consciously fixed the mighty deep springs below the immense earth, when he consciously assigned the powerful sea its unmoving eternal limits, limits the chaotic waters were commanded not to willfully transgress, and when he actively marked out the stable, foundational foundations of the entire earth, I was there. I was always right there, actively beside him, like a master and intimate builder, the one he intimately delighted in every single day, continually rejoicing in his constant presence. I was there, rejoicing in the entire wide world and delighting especially in all mankind, in the crowning work of his creation. Now then, my children, listen closely and attentively to me. Truly blessed, deeply and profoundly favored are those who faithfully keep my true ways, who actively follow my path. Listen diligently to my teaching and work to become truly wise. Do not willingly disregard or neglect it. Truly blessed, forever favored, is the one who patiently listens to me, actively watching daily at my purposeful door, waiting diligently at my ready doorway. For those who genuinely find me, who embrace my truth, find true, lasting life, and they obtain deep, abiding favor from the eternal Lord. But those who utterly fail to find me, who consciously reject my presence, harm and diminish their very selves. All who truly hate me actively love and ultimately choose death. Senhor, nós te entregamos a nossa busca incessante por respostas no lugar errado. Que o teu Espírito Santo nos guie, pois só em ti encontramos a verdadeira sabedoria que precede todas as coisas. Amen. This powerful description of wisdom, a divine, eternal being present at the very dawn of creation, is not merely a philosophical concept. It is the bridge, the living connection between the ancient promise and the living reality that was to come. This wisdom, eternal and pure, is the very essence of God made accessible to us. We now gently turn the page in our hearts, moving from the foundational wisdom of creation to the moment that this eternal wisdom put on flesh and dwelt among us, a moment of quiet, staggering grace that shifted the course of all human history. This is the moment when the abstract became intimate, when the voice crying out in the public square became the quiet, compelling voice of a man walking the dusty roads of Galilee, a man whose presence, whose touch, whose every word was permeated with this ancient, life-giving truth. Let us pause for a moment and reflect on the unexpected, quiet arrival of this divine plan. The world was not waiting for a philosophy or a brilliant new theory. It was waiting for a palpable, redeeming presence, though it largely did not realize it. The human heart, battered by the weight of its own errors and the inevitability of suffering, yearned for a shepherd. And he came not as a conquering emperor, as many expected, but as a humble, dedicated servant, born in the obscurity of a small village, stepping into the mess of human life not to judge it from a distance, but to redeem it from within. His teaching was not academic or complex. It was simple, powerful, and deeply personal, speaking directly to the neediest parts of the soul. He did not ask for allegiance based on military might or political power, He asked for a simple, childlike faith, a willingness to follow a path defined by love, forgiveness, and radical humility. Think of the first encounters with him, the people who were drawn to his gentle but authoritative presence. The fisherman who dropped his nets without a second thought, the tax collector who left his ill-gotten gains behind, the marginalized and the forgotten, who found for the first time a gaze that was not critical or dismissive, but utterly compassionate and accepting. He didn't just teach the truth, he embodied it. His miracles were not mere demonstrations of power. They were tangible illustrations of the kingdom of God breaking into a world of brokenness, signs that the eternal wisdom was actively at work, healing, restoring, and bringing light where there was only darkness. He calmed the terrifying storm, not just to save the disciples, but to show that the chaotic forces of the world are subject to the serene authority of God's plan. He fed the multitudes not just to satisfy their hunger, but to illustrate that the divine provision is always more than sufficient, always multiplying in the face of human need. He healed the sick, not just to alleviate physical pain, but to show that God desires wholeness and restoration for every single part of our being, body, mind, and spirit. This profound, constant connection between the eternal, majestic wisdom and the gentle human presence of Jesus is the very core of our hope. It means that the God who set the boundaries of the sea is the same God who understands the boundaries of your own personal pain and grief. The one who established the foundations of the earth is the same one whose hand is actively guiding your life today, making your steps purposeful and straight, just as the ancient wisdom promised. This is a faith rooted not in blind adherence to rules, but in a living, breathing, personal relationship with the source of all truth. It is an invitation to lay down the burden of striving, the constant need to prove your worth, and simply rest in the profound, unearned acceptance that is freely offered to you. The path of following this eternal wisdom is not always easy. It is often the path of self-denial and the rejection of the world's temporary, enticing rewards. But it is the only path that ultimately leads to true, unshakable peace and a joy that endures beyond every hardship. We are called to embody this wisdom, to let it define our actions, our words, and our internal life. It means choosing patience when our instinct is to rush, choosing silence when our pride urges us to retaliate, and choosing forgiveness when our hurt demands retribution. These are the quiet, daily acts of faith that transform a simple existence into a life rich with divine purpose. Embrace this truth. The ancient, powerful call of wisdom is still resounding today, calling you away from the chaos and into the calm, purposeful center of God's will. She is at the doorstep of your heart, waiting for you to simply open the door and invite her in, to be your closest companion and your most most reliable guide. Let us pray that we hear her voice more clearly than the world's distractions. Wisdom, the ancient, powerful one, has built her enduring, stable house. She has purposefully set up its 7 solid, immovable pillars, establishing its structure with divine precision. She has meticulously prepared her life-sustaining meat and carefully mixed her vital, nourishing wine, ensuring all is ready. She has even personally set her inviting table, making it clear that the feast is prepared and waiting. This is not a hidden gathering. She has actively sent out her willing servants, and she calls loudly, urgently, from the very highest, most visible point of the busy city. She calls to every soul, saying clearly, "Let all who are simple and searching come immediately to my prepared house." To those who possess no true practical sense, she declares with open invitation, "Come now, eat deeply of my prepared food, and drink freely of the wine that I have personally mixed for your nourishment. Actively leave behind your simple, destructive ways, and as a direct result, you will genuinely live. Choose to walk confidently in the clear, guiding way of true insight." There is a profound practical warning here, a necessary truth about human nature. Whoever attempts to correct a persistent mocker, the one who scoffs at truth, only invites immediate insults and profound ridicule upon themselves. Whoever sincerely tries to rebuke a determined, self-aware wicked person inevitably incurs only abuse and open hostility. Therefore, here is the wisdom of self-protection. Do not even attempt to rebuke persistent mockers, or their reaction will be to actively hate you fiercely for exposing their darkness. Instead, choose to rebuke only the truly wise, those with a humble, open heart, and their reaction will be one of profound, lasting love and gratitude. Give sincere instruction to the wise, and as a result, they will not only listen, but will become wiser still, adding depth to their understanding. Diligently teach the righteous, those already on the right path, and they will consistently add to their precious existing learning. This is the difference between casting pearls before swine and sowing seeds in fertile ground. The core principle remains utterly unchanged, the true, reliable starting point. The fear of the Lord is the true, lasting beginning of all wisdom. And the genuine knowledge of the Holy One, an intimate, sustained understanding of His character, is true, lasting understanding itself. For it is fundamentally through this divine wisdom that your meaningful days will be abundantly multiplied, and productive years will be continuously added to the total length of your life. If you consciously choose to be truly wise, understand this: your proactive wisdom will bring its own profound, lasting reward. But if you stubbornly choose to be a determined mocker, an opponent of truth, you alone, in the end, will suffer the devastating consequences. Folly, the destructive opposite of wisdom, is consistently described as a turbulent, unruly woman. She is utterly simple, lacking all genuine substance, and knows absolutely nothing of the truth. She sits brazenly at the active door of her temporarily secure house, perched proudly on a prominent seat at the highest, most visible point of the city, actively and constantly calling out to all those passing by, those who are genuinely going straight, diligently on their purposeful way. She whispers the intoxicating lie, "Let all who are simple, all who are looking for a shortcut, come immediately to my house." To those who possess no true, practical sense, she deceptively says, with smooth, dangerous confidence, "Stolen water, the forbidden pleasure, is irresistibly sweet. Food that is secretly eaten, the concealed sin, is deliciously satisfying and thrilling." But the tragic, chilling reality is this: little do the naive victims know that the dead, those whose lives have been utterly consumed by this folly, are permanently there. Her seemingly tempting guests are already deep, irrevocably deep, in the permanent realm of the dead, having traded life for a momentary empty thrill. The wisdom of King Solomon, collected and preserved, carries this profound, recurring theme, comparing and contrasting the two eternal paths. Listen to the simplicity. A truly wise son actively brings deep, lasting joy to his devoted father, but a foolish, self-destructive son consistently brings only painful grief and deep sorrow to his dedicated mother. This is a simple, practical, inescapable consequence of our choices. Consider the contrast in gain. Ill-gotten treasures, riches acquired through dishonest means, hold absolutely no lasting, eternal value. They are temporary and fleeting, but unwavering righteousness, a life lived in alignment with divine truth, actively delivers the soul from the inescapable grasp of death. The Lord, who is both just and loving, will never, ever allow the truly righteous to suffer hunger or total lack, but he actively thwarts, frustrates, and ultimately defeats the greedy, insatiable craving of the wicked. This is divine justice in action. The practical wisdom concerning diligence is equally clear. Lazy, idle hands actively make for debilitating poverty, inviting lack into life. But diligent, active hands, the result of a disciplined life, consistently bring forth lasting wealth and stability. The one who actively gathers his valuable crops in the late, productive summer is acknowledged as a truly prudent, wise son, preparing for the future. But the one who shamefully sleeps during the crucial harvest time is a deeply disgraceful, foolish son, trading his future for momentary comfort. Blessings and favor consistently crown the honored head of the righteous, but overwhelming, destructive violence tragically engulfs the deceiving, wicked mouth of the unfaithful. The precious name, the very reputation of the righteous, is consistently remembered and often actively used in blessings, carrying weight and honor. But the name, the memory of the wicked will, without fail, completely rot and be forgotten. The wise in heart, those who are truly receptive, humbly accept necessary commands and instruction, recognizing their value. But a chattering, arrogant fool, constantly talking without listening, inevitably comes to complete, irreversible ruin. This is the power of humility versus pride. Whoever makes the conscious effort to walk in deep integrity, in wholeness of character, actively walks securely, finding stability and peace in every step. But whoever stubbornly chooses to take crooked, deceitful paths will, without fail, be found out, exposed to all. Whoever winks maliciously with their eyes, signaling hidden, corrupt intent, actively causes painful grief to others. And again, a chattering, arrogant fool inevitably comes to painful, self-inflicted ruin. The mouth of the truly righteous is a life-giving fountain of hope and direction. But the treacherous mouth of the wicked consciously conceals violent intent, hiding destruction behind smooth words. Unresolved hatred relentlessly stirs up bitter conflict and chaos. But active, profound love, the divine remedy, consistently covers over all necessary wrongs and promotes healing. True, actionable wisdom is consistently found settled firmly on the lips of the truly discerning, those who listen before they speak. But a painful, humiliating rod is reserved for the exposed back of anyone who possesses absolutely no true sense, who rejects the possibility of learning. The truly wise diligently and quietly store up valuable, precious knowledge, preparing for the future. But the constantly talking, careless mouth of a fool simply invites inevitable, painful ruin upon themselves and those around them. The great, visible wealth of the rich man acts as his perceived fortified city, his place of temporary security, which he falsely believes can protect him from all harm. But devastating poverty is the ultimate, bitter ruin of the poor man who has no true, lasting foundation. The ultimate wages, the true reward of the truly righteous is eternal life and abundance. But the temporary earnings, the ill-gotten gains of the wicked are nothing but perpetual sin and the eventual certain grasp of death. Whoever genuinely heeds, who listens and follows, necessary discipline and correction consistently shows the true, clear way to life, guiding others by their example. But whoever consciously ignores and completely rejects correction actively leads both themselves and others sadly astray, creating chaos in their wake. Whoever attempts to consciously conceal deep, unresolved hatred with lying, deceptive lips, and relentlessly spreads malicious, harmful slander is, in the eyes of eternity, nothing more than a dangerous fool. The tragic reality is this: true sin is never, ever ended simply by multiplying or changing your words. True change requires action, but the truly prudent, the wise ones, consciously and diligently hold their tongues, knowing the power of silence and restraint. The active tongue of the truly righteous is consistently described as being like choice, fine silver, valuable and pure. But the hidden, true heart of the wicked is, in the eyes of God, of absolutely little to no lasting value. The pure lips of the truly righteous actively nourish, sustain, and give life to many people through their encouraging words. But fools tragically and literally die, spiritually and often physically, for their profound self-imposed lack of true sense, their continuous rejection of wisdom, the profound, limitless blessing of the eternal Lord alone brings true, lasting wealth, and He adds absolutely no painful, consuming toil, no crippling sorrow to it. It is a gift, freely given, not an anxiety-ridden conquest. A fool consistently finds his greatest temporary pleasure in wicked, empty schemes and destructive, selfish actions. But a person of true, deep understanding actively delights, finds genuine, lasting joy in the presence and principles of God's wisdom. Understand this immutable spiritual law. What the wicked relentlessly dread and fear will inevitably overtake them and consume their temporary lives. But what the truly righteous passionately desire, truth, peace, justice, will certainly and freely be granted to them. When the inevitable, terrifying storm of adversity has fiercely swept by, the wicked are utterly gone and forgotten. But the truly righteous stand completely firm, unshakable, forever rooted in God's truth. The wicked are an active, constant annoyance to all who encounter them. Just as vinegar, with its painful, acidic quality, irritates the sensitive teeth, and as thick, blinding smoke irritates the eyes, so are the self-absorbed sluggards, the lazy, the procrastinators, to the ones who, out of necessity, must actively send them or rely upon them. They bring only frustration and difficulty. The deep, reverent fear of the Lord actively and consistently adds significant length to a person's life, prolonging their years with meaning and purpose. But the temporary, self-consumed years of the wicked are inevitably cut short, losing their potential. The constant prospect, the assured future of the truly righteous is one of deep, abiding joy, an eternal certainty. But the desperate, empty hopes of the wicked inevitably come to absolutely nothing. They are building on a foundation of sand. The true, clear way of the Lord is a mighty, impenetrable refuge, a secure place of absolute safety for the blameless and the innocent. But it is, tragically, the certain, irreversible ruin of those who willfully choose to actively do evil. The truly righteous, those aligned with God's will never, ever be violently uprooted or dislodged from their place of stability. But the wicked, the unfaithful, will not, cannot remain rooted or established in the true, blessed land of promise and peace. From the honest, pure mouth of the truly righteous flows forth the abundant, life-sustaining fruit of true wisdom, nourishing all who hear it. But a perverse, manipulative, and wicked tongue will inevitably be silenced and utterly condemned. The pure lips of the truly righteous consistently know exactly what genuinely finds favor in the eyes of God and man, and they speak only those things. But the arrogant, careless mouth of the wicked speaks only what is perverse, twisted, and destructive. The contrast is profound, visible in every single word spoken. The Lord, who is perfectly just, fundamentally detests all dishonest, manipulative scales, the symbol of corrupt, unfair dealings in life. But true, accurate weights, the sign of unwavering fairness and integrity, consistently find deep favor with Him. When blinding, consuming pride finally comes and takes root in the soul, then, immediately following it, comes profound, lasting disgrace and public humiliation. But the path of true humility, the conscious recognition of dependence on God, is the source from which true, lasting wisdom quietly and persistently flows. The complete integrity of the upright soul, that profound internal wholeness, will always reliably guide them on their path, ensuring they never lose their way. But the unfaithful, those who are perpetually double-minded and live in deliberate deceit, are tragically destroyed and utterly consumed by their own inherent duplicity, the very act of trying to serve two masters. Riches and material wealth, however comforting they may seem in the moment, are utterly worthless and completely non-transferable in the inevitable, terrifying day of God's final wrath. But unwavering righteousness, a life lived in intentional alignment with truth, actively and powerfully delivers the soul from the inescapable grip of death. The continuous righteousness of those who are truly blameless ensures that their paths remain straight, clear, and unhindered. But the wicked, those who choose chaos and defiance, are perpetually brought down and consumed by the crushing weight of their own self-inflicted wickedness. The conscious righteousness of the upright powerfully delivers them from trouble and deep distress. But the unfaithful, those who refuse to commit to truth, are tragically trapped, completely ensnared by the pervasive destructive desires of their own evil hearts. Hopes that are consciously placed in mere mortals, in temporary human power or resources, will inevitably, painfully die with them. All the powerful, compelling promise of their temporary earthly power ultimately comes to absolute nothing. But the truly righteous person is not only rescued from impending trouble, but the trouble itself is actively diverted, falling immediately and deservedly upon the wicked person instead. It is a profound demonstration of divine justice and protection. With their loud, destructive mouths, the godless actively ruin and destroy their immediate neighbors, their community connections. But it is profoundly and beautifully through genuine, deep knowledge, spiritual insight, that the truly righteous are able to skillfully escape the chaos. When the truly righteous are allowed to prosper and flourish, the surrounding city actively rejoices and finds communal peace. When the wicked, those who foster discord, finally perish and are removed, there are open, collective shouts of deep, restorative joy. Through the pure, sustaining blessing of the upright people, a city is visibly exalted, elevated to greatness and stability. But tragically, by the corrupt, manipulative mouth of the persistent wicked, that very city is actively and painfully destroyed, torn apart by lies and greed. Whoever openly derides, mocks, and shows contempt for their neighbor simply demonstrates that they possess no common sense, no true prudence. But the person who possesses true, deep understanding consciously and diligently holds their tongue, knowing the power of silence and restraint. A gossip, a relentless spreader of idle talk, invariably betrays and leaks a sacred confidence, shattering trust. But a completely trustworthy person fiercely and reliably keeps an essential secret. In a situation where necessary guidance is completely lacking, a nation inevitably falls into chaos and destruction, losing its way and its purpose. But true, complete victory, enduring success, is consciously won through the sheer counsel of many wise, trustworthy advisors. This highlights the value of community and humility. Whoever carelessly puts up security for a complete stranger, vouching for their debt, will almost certainly suffer profound financial and personal loss. But whoever bravely refuses to impulsively shake hands in pledge, whoever wisely avoids that self-imposed entanglement, remains completely safe and unencumbered. A kind-hearted, generous woman actively gains true, enduring honor and respect in her community. But ruthless, greedy men gain only temporary, empty, and fading wealth. Those who are genuinely kind, those who demonstrate compassion and generosity, ultimately benefit and enrich themselves. The positive spiritual law returns good to them. But the cruel, the selfish, who willingly inflict pain and take advantage, only bring inevitable, lasting ruin upon themselves. A wicked, dishonest person actively earns only deceptive, temporary wages, a false promise of security. But the one who diligently and consistently sows true righteousness will inevitably reap a sure, abundant, eternal reward. The clear promise is this: truly, the actively righteous will certainly attain abundant, lasting life and spiritual vitality. But whoever relentlessly pursues, who chases after what is evil and destructive, will only, without fail, find death and permanent ruin. The Lord fundamentally detests and rejects those whose hearts are perverse, constantly twisted in defiance of truth. But He actively and lovingly delights in those whose entire ways are genuinely blameless, whose hearts are pure and focused. Be absolutely sure of this profound spiritual reality. The persistent wicked will certainly not go unpunished for their chosen deeds, but those who are truly righteous will be completely and freely set free, liberated from all condemnation. A profound, visible lack of discretion and inner sense in a beautiful woman is tragically compared to a valuable, misplaced gold ring placed securely in a pig's snout. It is a thing of inherent beauty, corrupted by the environment around it. The true inner desire of the truly righteous consistently ends only in genuine, lasting good. But the desperate, empty hope of the wicked inevitably results only in deep, burning, consuming wrath. Consider the law of sowing and reaping concerning generosity. One person gives freely, generously, and consistently, yet, as a profound result, they gain even more abundance than they started with. But another selfishly and unduly withholds what is needed, attempting to hoard and secure their own temporary wealth, yet they, without fail, suddenly come to utter, devastating poverty. A genuinely generous person will consistently and truly prosper in every area of their life. Whoever consciously and actively refreshes, restores, and encourages others will, without fail, himself or herself, be abundantly refreshed and restored. People will openly curse, will speak ill of the one who selfishly hoards necessary precious grain in a time of widespread need and deep hunger. But they will consistently pray for God's profound, rich blessing upon the one who is genuinely willing to sell, to share, to provide during the crisis. Whoever diligently seeks and pursues what is truly good will consistently find favor and peace. But inevitable, self-inflicted evil tragically comes to the person who actively searches for it, who looks for ways to cause chaos. Those who blindly trust and find their complete security in their fleeting riches will inevitably fall, losing their stability and purpose. But the truly righteous will consistently thrive, remaining green and vibrant like a strong, healthy leaf, even in the deepest spiritual drought. Whoever, through their lack of discipline or perverse choices, brings ruin and deep debt upon their dedicated family will ultimately inherit absolutely nothing but a relentless empty wind, a temporary passing vapor. And the persistent fool will eventually and tragically be forced to become a mere servant to the truly wise. The genuine, profound fruit of the truly righteous life is like a living, sustaining tree of life, giving shade and nourishment to all around it. And the one who is truly wise actively and purposefully saves the lives of others, giving them direction and hope. If the truly righteous, those who strive to follow God, receive their due reward and correction on this temporary earth, how much more certain and severe will be the judgment for the ungodly and the conscious, hardened sinner. The balance of divine justice is absolute. Let us transition now into another realm of practical wisdom: how to speak and how to receive correction. Whoever truly loves necessary discipline and life-giving instruction actively loves and pursues profound knowledge. But whoever stubbornly hates and rejects necessary correction is, by definition, utterly stupid, rejecting the very tools they need for survival. Good, upright people consistently obtain deep, unmerited favor from the eternal Lord. But he consciously and righteously condemns those who consistently devise wicked, destructive schemes and plans. No one, absolutely no human being, can ever be established, can find true stability or permanence through chosen wickedness, through a life of moral chaos. But the truly righteous, rooted deeply in God, cannot ever be violently uprooted or moved from their foundation. A wife who possesses truly noble, strong character is the permanent crown and enduring honor of her devoted husband, bringing dignity and respect to his life. But a disgraceful, chaotic wife is like a painful, consuming decay in his very bones, slowly destroying his inner strength and vitality. The deep, earnest plans of the truly righteous are consistently just, fair, and aligned with truth. But the constant, seductive advice of the wicked is nothing but deep-seated deceit and manipulation. The manipulative words of the truly wicked lie in wait, hidden and ready, for the opportunity to cause bloodshed and injury. But the pure, honest speech of the upright actively and powerfully rescues the innocent from the chaos. The wicked are inevitably overthrown, permanently removed, and suddenly are no more, vanishing into the dust of history. But the secure, established house of the truly righteous stands utterly firm, immovable against all storms. A person is consistently praised, given honor and respect according to their deep prudence, their practical, guiding wisdom. And one with a warped, twisted mind who rejects truth is consistently despised and rejected by the community. It is profoundly better to be considered a nobody, a person of no public esteem, and yet still have a dedicated working servant to provide for you, than to constantly pretend to be a public somebody, someone of great importance, and yet have absolutely no food to eat, living in a constant state of deception and lack. The truly righteous diligently care for the essential needs of their devoted working animals, demonstrating compassion and stewardship. But the kindest, most seemingly merciful acts of the wicked are, in their core nature, utterly cruel and self-serving. Those who diligently and tirelessly work their land and embrace their responsibilities will consistently have abundant, satisfying food to eat. But those who passively chase after empty fantasies, unrealistic, unsubstantiated dreams, possess absolutely no common sense or lasting stability. The persistent wicked desperately desire the temporary, protected stronghold of evildoers, seeking safety in numbers and temporary power. But the deep, strong root of the truly righteous consistently endures, remaining stable and connected to the source of life. Evildoers, those who rely on lies, are tragically trapped and paralyzed by their own sinful, careless talk, ensnared by their own deceit. And because of this chaos, the truly innocent, the blameless, are able to skillfully escape the trouble and confusion they created. From the sweet, nourishing fruit of their honest lips, people are actively filled with an abundance of good things, and the consistent, diligent work of their faithful hands consistently brings them their just, necessary reward. The easy, self-chosen way of the persistent fool always seems completely right and perfectly logical to them, because they lack perspective and humility. But the truly wise person consciously and diligently listens to and acts upon necessary advice and correction. Fools immediately show their intense annoyance, their anger, at once and without restraint. But the prudent, the wise ones, quietly and consciously overlook. They forgive an insult or offense, choosing peace over conflict. An honest, trustworthy witness consistently tells only the truth, ensuring justice and clarity. But a false, manipulative witness consistently tells blatant, destructive lies. The careless, reckless words of the unthinking pierce and wound others deeply, like sharp, damaging swords. But the thoughtful, healing tongue of the truly wise consistently brings restorative healing and peace. Truthful, honest lips will endure and remain forever rooted. But a lying, deceptive tongue lasts only for a temporary moment before it is exposed and destroyed. Deceit, the intent to harm, is permanently rooted in the hearts of those who consciously plot and scheme evil. But those who actively promote and pursue peace consistently experience profound joy and lasting stability. Absolutely no lasting harm or destruction will ever truly overtake the truly righteous, for they are protected by God's promise, But the wicked, those who choose defiance, will inevitably have their full, bitter share of deep trouble and inescapable chaos. The Lord fundamentally detests and rejects all lying, deceptive lips, the source of confusion and pain. But He actively and profoundly delights in all people who are completely trustworthy, who speak and act with integrity. The truly prudent consciously and diligently keep their valuable knowledge to themselves, knowing its power and when to use it wisely. But the impulsive, arrogant fool's heart blurts out every folly and thoughtless opinion. Diligent, working hands will inevitably rule and hold positions of authority, leading with purpose and stability. But laziness, the rejection of responsibility, leads only to inescapable, enforced labor and a life of servitude. Deep anxiety and constant worry weigh down the responsive, fragile human heart, slowly crushing its spirit. But a kind, timely, and encouraging word actively cheers it up and restores its hope. The truly righteous consciously and diligently choose their friends carefully, ensuring their company is positive and uplifting. But the destructive way of the wicked actively leads them, and those who follow them, sadly astray. The persistently lazy person, the sluggard, does not even take the necessary effort to roast and prepare the game he has caught, throwing away his resources. But the diligent, the prepared, actively feed and thrive on the abundance and true riches of the successful, well-planned hunt. The clear, chosen way of true righteousness, the path of integrity, is the only true way to abundant life. And along that stable, certain path is the promise of immortality, an unending future with God. A truly wise son attentively heeds and follows his devoted father's necessary instruction, recognizing its inherent value. But a persistent, stubborn mocker, one who openly scoffs at all authority, absolutely does not respond or submit to necessary rebukes, choosing defiance over growth. From the sweet, nourishing fruit of their honest lips, people consistently enjoy profound, lasting good things and true prosperity. But the unfaithful, those who are perpetually double-minded, have an internal destructive appetite only for chaos and manipulative violence. Those who diligently guard and restrain their ready lips actively preserve and protect the quality of their lives, finding peace in their words. But those who speak rashly, carelessly, and without forethought will certainly and tragically come to deep, painful ruin. A lazy person's, a sluggard's destructive appetite is never ever truly filled or satisfied. They constantly want more without effort. But the strong, righteous desires of the truly diligent are always fully and completely satisfied, finding fulfillment in their work. The truly righteous consistently hate and reject what is false, manipulative, and deceptive. But the wicked, those who choose defiance, actively make themselves completely obnoxious, repulsive, and ultimately bring deep public shame upon themselves and their families. Righteousness, a life lived in alignment with divine truth, actively and powerfully guards the person of deep integrity, surrounding them with protection. But wickedness, the chosen path of chaos, inevitably overthrows and destroys the persistent sinner. One person actively pretends and publicly boasts to be immensely rich, yet in reality they possess absolutely nothing of lasting value. They live a life of profound internal lack. Another, in humble truth, actively pretends to be poor and insignificant, yet they possess immense, lasting spiritual and true wealth. A person's great material riches may, in a moment of crisis, potentially ransom their temporary life, buying their freedom. But the truly poor, those with no material resources, cannot, unfortunately, respond to threatening, aggressive rebukes. They have nothing to bargain with. The bright, guiding light of the truly righteous shines intensely and brightly, illuminating the way for others. But the temporary, deceptive lamp of the wicked is quickly and permanently snuffed out, leaving them in darkness. Where intense strife and chaos exist, there, inevitably, is destructive, self-aggrandizing pride. But true, quiet wisdom is consistently found only in those who humbly seek out and willingly take deep advice and necessary counsel. Dishonest, ill-gotten money, accumulated through corruption and manipulation, slowly but surely dwindles away to nothing. It has no true stability. But whoever diligently and consistently gathers money little by little, through honest labor and patience, actively makes it securely grow and expand. Hope that is persistently deferred, waiting for the wrong things, makes the responsive human heart profoundly sick and weary, crushing its spirit. But a genuine, righteous longing that is finally fulfilled is like a living, sustaining tree of life, giving new energy and purpose. Whoever openly scorns and rejects necessary instruction will certainly and painfully pay for their arrogance. Consequences are certain. But whoever sincerely respects and follows a clear command is consistently and openly rewarded with favor and peace. The potent, life-giving teaching of the truly wise is a true flowing fountain of vital life, actively turning a searching, receptive person away from the hidden, dangerous snares of inevitable death. Good, sound judgment consistently wins profound favor and respect from all. But the chosen way of the actively unfaithful leads, without fail, only to their complete, painful, irreversible destruction. All who are truly prudent, the wise ones, actively conduct themselves with knowledge and thoughtful consideration. But persistent fools, openly and carelessly, expose the sheer depths of their folly to all who are watching. A wicked, unreliable messenger, actively falls headlong into deep trouble and chaos because of his own deceit, but a completely trustworthy envoy, one who speaks truth, consistently brings restorative healing and enduring peace. Whoever consciously disregards and rejects necessary discipline and correction will certainly come to deep poverty and intense public shame. But whoever genuinely heeds and accepts correction is openly honored and respected by the community. A deep, righteous longing that is finally fulfilled is profoundly sweet to the inner soul, bringing deep satisfaction. But fools fundamentally detest, they hate and reject the very act of genuinely turning away from all that is evil. The crucial command is this: walk actively and closely with the truly wise, and you yourself will inevitably become wise. For a constant companion of reckless fools only suffers deep, painful harm and inevitable destruction. Deep trouble and chaos relentlessly pursue and actively consume the willing, persistent sinner. But the truly righteous are consistently and abundantly rewarded with only truly good things. A truly good person consciously leaves a profound, righteous inheritance that sustains not just their children, but their children's children, creating a lasting legacy. But a sinner's temporary, ill-gotten wealth is actively stored up, preserved, only for the eventual use of the truly righteous. Wealth is simply transferred to the faithful. An unplowed, diligently worked field, a place of potential, actively produces abundant, life-sustaining food for even the truly poor. But profound, pervasive injustice and corruption actively sweep all that potential away, leaving only lack. Whoever willingly spares the rod, rejecting the necessity of discipline, actively hates their own children by failing to prepare them for the real world. But the one who truly loves their children is consistently careful, purposeful, and loving in their consistent discipline, ensuring their future stability. The truly righteous consistently eat to their soul's content, finding deep satisfaction and rest. But the empty, demanding stomach of the wicked remains perpetually hungry, never satisfied by temporary gain. Let us consider the profound difference between the builders of life. The truly wise woman, the one who possesses prudence and insight, actively builds her permanent, stable house, ensuring its endurance and strength. But the foolish, impulsive one, by the reckless choices of her own hands, actively and painfully tears hers down, dismantling her own life. Whoever actively fears the Lord, that profound, reverent awe, consistently walks uprightly, with integrity and focus. But those who openly despise him are consistently devious, dishonest, and confusing in their chosen ways. A persistent fool's impulsive, unguarded mouth lashes out constantly with arrogance and pride, causing damage. But the restrained, thoughtful lips of the truly wise actively protect and sustain them. Where there are absolutely no strong, working oxen, the manger, the place of provision, remains predictably empty. Effort is required for reward, but from the sheer, powerful strength of a diligently working ox comes an abundance of crops and a plentiful harvest. An honest, trustworthy witness absolutely does not deceive or manipulate in their testimony, but a false, lying witness constantly pours out torrents of destructive lies. The mocker, the one who scoffs at truth, constantly seeks wisdom and true understanding, yet tragically finds absolutely none. Their heart is closed to it. But true, actionable knowledge comes quickly and easily to those who are genuinely discerning, those who listen and seek truth. The clear instruction is this: actively stay away from a fool. Do not engage or align yourself with them, for you will absolutely not find genuine, pure knowledge settled on their destructive lips. The practical, life-saving wisdom of the truly prudent is to give deep, careful thought to their own chosen ways, constantly evaluating their path. But the destructive folly of persistent fools is nothing but profound self-deception and delusion. Fools consistently mock, they scoff at, the very idea of making genuine amends or repentance for their persistent sin, believing they are above correction. But profound goodwill, sincere generosity, is consistently and readily found only among the truly upright, those who pursue purity of heart. Each individual heart, in its deepest, most secret place, truly knows its own profound bitterness and sorrow, the internal pain no one else can fully grasp, and no other human being can truly share the depth of its unique, personal joy. These are experiences known only to the soul. The temporary, chaotic house of the wicked will inevitably be actively and completely destroyed, removed from stability. But the humble, simple tent of the upright will consistently flourish and endure, built on a solid, unseen foundation. There is always a way, a path, that initially appears to be completely right, safe, and logical in the eyes of the human chooser. But, without fail, in the tragic end, that path inevitably leads directly to permanent, irreversible death. This is the danger of relying solely on human perspective. Even in the midst of loud, seeming laughter, the human heart may be aching and consumed with sorrow, and moments of temporary, outward rejoicing may suddenly and painfully end in deep, consuming grief. The faithless, those who reject truth and fidelity, will be fully and justly repaid for the deceptive ways they have chosen to walk. And the truly good, the upright, will be abundantly rewarded for their righteous, purposeful choices. The simple, naive person blindly believes absolutely anything that is confidently told to them, They lack discernment and critical thought. But the truly prudent, the wise ones, consistently give deep, careful thought to every single one of their steps, ensuring they are not led astray. The truly wise actively and consistently fear the Lord, that deep, reverent awe, and they fiercely shun all evil and destructive paths. But a persistent, arrogant fool is constantly hot-headed, impulsive, and yet somehow manages to feel completely secure and untouchable in their self-made chaos. A quick-tempered, angry person constantly does foolish, impulsive, and destructive things, causing unnecessary damage. And the one who constantly devises and schemes evil plans is utterly hated and rejected by all who know him. The simple-minded, the naive, inevitably inherit only profound folly and foolishness, trading their future for temporary simplicity. But the truly prudent, the discerning, are consistently crowned with the lasting honor of deep, practical knowledge. Evil-doers, the dishonest ones, will eventually be forced to bow down in shame in the sheer, undeniable presence of the truly good and the righteous, and the wicked will be forced to bow at the very gates, the place of public judgment of the truly righteous, recognizing the authority of truth. The truly poor, those lacking material wealth, are tragically shunned and avoided even by their immediate neighbors and family. But the immensely rich, those with resources, consistently have a multitude of temporary fair-weather friends. It is a profound moral sin to actively despise and show contempt for one's struggling neighbor, rejecting human connection. But truly blessed, deeply favored, is the one who is consistently kind, compassionate, and generous to the genuine, persistent needs of the poor and the destitute. Do not be led astray. Those who constantly plot and scheme evil invariably go astray and lose their way and purpose. But those who actively plan, who seek what is truly good and beneficial, consistently find profound, lasting love and unwavering faithfulness in their community. All honest, diligent, and patient hard work consistently brings forth a true, tangible profit and lasting gain. But mere, careless, empty talk, boasting without action, leads only and predictably to deep, painful poverty. The true, inner wealth of the truly wise person is their honor and their enduring crown, their reputation. But the utter, persistent folly of persistent fools consistently yields only more profound foolishness and destruction. A completely truthful, honest witness actively saves the lives of others by ensuring justice and clarity in difficult moments. But a false, lying witness is nothing but deep-seated deceit and manipulation, causing ruin to the innocent. Whoever genuinely fears the Lord, that profound, reverent awe, possesses a secure, impenetrable fortress, a place of ultimate safety. and for their children, this fear is a profound, established refuge, a stable inheritance of peace. The true fear of the Lord is consistently described as a profound, flowing fountain of eternal life, actively turning a receptive person away from the hidden, destructive snares of inevitable death. A large, thriving, stable population is consistently recognized as a great, enduring king's profound glory and legacy. But without loyal, dependable subjects, a king or prince is tragically ruined and forgotten. Whoever is consistently patient, exercising self-control and restraint, possesses immense, deep understanding and wisdom. But one who is impulsively quick-tempered constantly displays profound folly, making reckless, destructive choices. A calm, stable heart at profound peace actively gives life, health, and vitality to the physical body. But deep, consuming envy and resentment actively rot the very bones, destroying inner health. Whoever actively oppresses and takes advantage of the truly poor consciously shows deep contempt and rejection for their own maker, rejecting God's image in humanity. But whoever is genuinely kind, compassionate, and generous to the sincere needy actively honors God. When sudden, inevitable calamity tragically comes, the wicked, those who choose defiance, are utterly brought down, consumed by the storm. But even in the chilling face of death, the truly righteous actively seek and find profound refuge and secure hope in God. True, actionable wisdom quietly reposes. It rests securely and deep within the responsive heart of the truly discerning, the one who seeks truth. And even among the surrounding chaos of fools, this wisdom allows herself to be clearly known and recognized. Righteousness, a life lived in alignment with God, actively exalts a nation, raising it to true greatness and enduring stability. But persistent, defiant sin utterly condemns and dismantles any people or community. A king, the leader of the people, actively delights and finds great pleasure in a truly wise, honest, and dedicated servant. But a shameful, incompetent servant only arouses his fierce, righteous fury and condemnation. Let us now reflect on the profound, quiet power of gentleness and self-control. A genuinely gentle, patient answer immediately turns away hot, consuming wrath, diffusing the conflict. But a harsh, careless, and cutting word instantly stirs up anger and provokes bitter conflict. The tongue of the truly wise consistently adorns. It brings honor and beauty too, pure, necessary knowledge, making it appealing and accessible. But the unrestrained mouth of the foolish person constantly gushes forth only profound folly and chaos. The vigilant eyes of the eternal Lord are actively everywhere, watching over all things, diligently keeping a constant, perfect watch on both the wicked and the truly good. This is a profound, comforting truth and a sober warning. A soothing, healing tongue, one that speaks peace and restoration, is consistently described as a true, life-giving tree of life, sustaining all who hear it. But a perverse, twisted tongue actively crushes. It utterly destroys the tender spirit of the listener. A persistent fool openly and consciously spurns, rejects, and shows contempt for a loving parent's necessary discipline, believing they know better. But whoever genuinely heeds and accepts correction and necessary rebuke consistently shows profound prudence and true practical wisdom. The large, secure house of the truly righteous consistently contains great, lasting spiritual treasure and profound stability. But the ill-gotten income, the temporary gains of the wicked, only bring profound, inevitable ruin and chaos. The pure, honest lips of the truly wise consistently spread essential, necessary knowledge, giving direction to others. But the true, hidden hearts of fools are fundamentally not upright, not aligned with truth or integrity. The Lord absolutely detests the religious, empty sacrifice of the wicked, for it is offered with a corrupt heart, a mask of piety. But the genuine, heartfelt prayer of the upright, the sincere soul, profoundly pleases and delights him. The Lord profoundly detests and rejects the chosen way of the wicked, the path of defiance and chaos. But he actively and intimately loves those who relentlessly pursue, who strive with purpose for true righteousness. Stern, necessary discipline actively awaits anyone who willingly leaves the clear, straight path of truth, for consequences are certain. The one who consciously and stubbornly hates necessary correction will eventually and tragically die, cut off from life-giving truth. Death and complete destruction lie open, utterly exposed before the all-seeing Lord. He sees the inevitable end of every path. How much more clearly, then, does he see and weigh every movement of the responsive, secret human hearts? Persistent mockers, those who openly reject truth, constantly resent and react against necessary correction, so they consciously and diligently avoid the company of the truly wise, protecting their own pride. But a truly happy heart, one filled with peace, consistently makes the physical face cheerful, radiating joy. But persistent, deep heartache and sorrow actively crush the tender human spirit, slowly dismantling its will to live. The truly discerning heart relentlessly seeks and pursues essential knowledge, recognizing its value above all else. But the careless, uncontrolled mouth of a fool only feeds itself and others on profound folly, empty, wasteful talk. All the long, painful days of the truly oppressed are understandably wretched and difficult, filled with hardship. But the cheerful, thankful heart, one rooted in faith, possesses an unceasing, continual spiritual feast, a constant source of internal joy. A little amount of provision, however small, coupled with the profound, reverent fear of the Lord, is infinitely better and more stable than a great, immense wealth that is constantly accompanied by consuming turmoil, chaos, and anxiety. A simple, basic dish of vegetables shared with genuine love and profound connection is infinitely better and more nourishing than a fattened, expensive calf served with deep, bitter hatred and resentment. A hot-tempered, easily angered person constantly stirs up painful conflict and chaos in their environment. But the one who is consistently patient, exercising powerful self-control, quickly and effectively calms a desperate, escalating quarrel. The chosen way of the lazy, self-indulgent sluggard is always actively blocked and painfully hindered, with sharp, frustrating thorns, self-imposed obstacles. But the clear, chosen path of the truly upright, the purposeful, is consistently like a smooth, wide, open highway, easily traveled. A truly wise son actively brings genuine, lasting joy and profound satisfaction to his devoted father. But a foolish, self-destructive man constantly despises, rejects, and brings deep shame to his own mother. Profound folly and ignorance consistently bring temporary joy to the one who possesses absolutely no true sense, who lives in denial. But whoever possesses true, deep understanding consciously and diligently keeps a straight, purposeful course in life, never wavering. Plans that are formulated in isolation, without seeking guidance, will inevitably and certainly fail completely, lacking necessary perspective. But with the wise counsel and insight of many trustworthy advisors, those same plans will predictably and consistently succeed. A person genuinely finds deep joy and satisfaction in the act of giving a correct, apt, and timely reply. It is a sign of wisdom. And how profoundly good and restorative is a word that is spoken perfectly at the right moment, a true comfort to the soul. The path of abundant life actively leads upward, moving toward purpose and light for the truly prudent, the discerning one. This upward path consciously keeps them safe from going down to the realm of the dead, the place of ruin. The Lord, who is just and powerful, actively tears down and destroys the chaotic, temporary house of the proud, the arrogant. But in an act of deep restoration, he purposefully sets the protective boundary stones of the helpless widow securely in place, ensuring justice for the vulnerable. The Lord profoundly detests and rejects the wicked, manipulative thoughts and plans of the evil-hearted. But pure, gracious, and life-giving words are consistently and abundantly pure in his sight. The greedy, the constantly seeking, actively bring profound ruin and deep debt to their own temporary households. But the one who genuinely hates and completely rejects all forms of bribes will certainly live a long, stable, and peaceful life. The active, discerning heart of the truly righteous diligently and consciously weighs. It assesses all its answers before speaking, ensuring truth and kindness. But the careless, impulsive mouth of the wicked constantly gushes forth only profound evil, causing unnecessary damage. The eternal Lord is perpetually far removed from the wicked, the deliberate sinners, separating himself from their chaos. But he is always near, actively hearing the genuine, sincere prayer of the truly righteous. Light that is visible in a messenger's eyes, the sign of truth and hope, actively brings deep joy to the receptive heart, and good, encouraging news consistently gives profound health and restoration to the physical bones. Whoever genuinely heeds and accepts life-giving correction will consistently be completely at home among the truly wise, finding community. Those who consciously and persistently disregard and reject necessary discipline despise their own potential. They reject their own selves. But the one who genuinely heeds and accepts correction consistently gains deep, lasting understanding. The true instruction of eternal wisdom is fundamentally this: to actively fear the Lord, that profound, reverent awe. And the path of deep humility consistently comes before true, enduring honor. In the complex tapestry of life, the plans that originate in the human heart are many and varied, filled with ambition and desire. But the proper, definitive answer of the tongue, the outcome that truly matters, comes only from the sovereign Lord himself. All of a human person's chosen ways may, to their own eyes, seem perfectly pure, clean, and justifiable to them. But the eternal, all-knowing Lord actively and perfectly weighs. He assesses their true, deep motives and intentions, the unseen source of their actions. The ultimate instruction for stability is this: commit completely to the Lord whatever you actively do or plan. Place your actions and your entire life into His hands, and He Himself will personally and securely establish your plans, ensuring their lasting success and purpose. The Lord actively works out every single thing in creation, however chaotic it may seem, to its exact, proper, and intended end. Even the seemingly random actions of the wicked are worked into His eternal plan, prepared for the inevitable day of ultimate disaster. The Lord profoundly detests and rejects all the proud in heart, the arrogant, and the self-worshippers. Be absolutely sure, be certain of this profound spiritual truth. They will certainly not go unpunished for their pride. It is profoundly and solely through active, unwavering love and genuine faithfulness that the stain and guilt of sin is completely atoned for and removed. And it is profoundly and solely through the deep, reverent fear of the Lord that all forms of evil are consistently and reliably avoided. When the Sovereign Lord actively takes deep pleasure and finds genuine delight in any person's chosen way of life, he does a profound thing. He causes even their fiercest, most determined enemies to actively make peace with them, removing the conflict from their path. A little amount of possession, however small, when it is accompanied by true righteousness, a life lived in alignment with God, is infinitely better and more stable than a great, immense amount of temporary gain that is achieved with profound, persistent injustice and corruption. In their hearts, human beings constantly plan and plot their chosen course and the next steps of their lives. But it is the Sovereign Lord alone who actively and precisely establishes, who directs and ensures their very steps, guiding their final destination. The pure guiding lips of a true, righteous king actively speak as an oracle, a voice of divine authority, and his decisive mouth will absolutely not betray true justice or fairness. Honest, true scales and accurate, balanced weights inherently belong to the eternal Lord. Every single weight, every measure of justice in the common bag is ultimately of his making and design. Righteous kings inherently detest and reject all forms of intentional wrongdoing and corruption, for a secure, enduring throne is consciously established and maintained only through true, unwavering righteousness. Kings actively take deep pleasure and find genuine satisfaction in honest, sincere lips. They value and honor the one who speaks only what is true and right. A king's deep, consuming wrath is a sudden, terrifying messenger of potential death and destruction. But the truly wise, the discerning ones, know how to skillfully and gently appease it, restoring peace. When a king's face visibly brightens with favor and approval, it inherently means life, safety, and abundance. His deep favor and blessing are like a refreshing, life-giving rain cloud that arrives precisely in the spring, the time of greatest need and new growth. How infinitely better and more valuable is it to consciously and diligently get true wisdom than to chase after fleeting temporary gold. How much wiser and more purposeful to genuinely get true insight rather than to accumulate choice, expensive silver. The clear, straight highway of the truly upright person consciously and consistently avoids all forms of profound evil, steering clear of temptation. Those who fiercely guard and diligently preserve their true ways actively and reliably preserve their very lives. Here is the immutable, spiritual law of consequence. Arrogant, overweening pride consistently goes immediately before total, irreversible destruction, and a haughty, arrogant, self-worshipping spirit inevitably precedes a painful, humiliating fall. It is profoundly better, more peaceful and secure to be humble in spirit, willingly aligning yourself with the oppressed and the meek, than to selfishly and temporarily share the ill-gotten plunder of the proud and the powerful. Whoever genuinely gives necessary heed and deep attention to divine instruction will certainly prosper and flourish in life. And truly blessed, deeply favored, is the one who consciously and completely trusts in the eternal Lord, placing all their hope and security in Him. The wise in heart, those who are truly receptive, are consistently called deeply discerning, possessing true insight, and their gracious, life-giving words actively promote and enhance the true learning and necessary instruction of others. Practical deep prudence is a true, life-giving fountain of hope and energy to the prudent, the wise person. But profound folly and foolishness bring only inevitable, painful punishment and chaos to persistent fools. The receptive hearts of the truly wise actively make their mouths prudent, thoughtful, and restrained, and their lips consciously promote instruction and life-giving truth to all who listen. Gracious, kind, and thoughtful words are consistently described as a sweet, nourishing honeycomb. They are sweet and deeply restorative to the soul, and they bring active, vibrant healing to the physical bones. They are a holistic balm. There is always a deceptive way, a path that, to the temporary, limited eye, appears to be completely right, logical, and safe. But tragically, in the final inescapable end, that path leads directly to permanent, irreversible death. The persistent, inner appetite of diligent, honest laborers actively works for them, driving them toward provision. Their constant, honest hunger is what consistently drives them onward to success. A wicked, scheming scoundrel constantly plots deep evil and destruction, and on their deceptive lips, their words are like a scorching, consuming fire, destroying all who draw near. A perverse, twisted person actively and relentlessly stirs up bitter conflict and chaos in the community. And a gossip, a malicious speaker, always purposefully separates even the closest, most devoted friends, shattering trust. A violent, destructive person actively entices and manipulates their trusting neighbor, knowingly leading them down a perilous path that is completely devoid of goodness or safety. Whoever maliciously winks with their active eye is constantly plotting deep perversity and deceit. Whoever purses their lips in secrecy is already bent and committed to profound evil. Grey hair, the visible sign of aging, is a powerful, honorable crown of true splendor, a legacy of endurance. It is consciously attained and earned only in the clear, purposeful way of true righteousness, a life lived with integrity. It is profoundly better, more powerful and wise to be a patient person, exercising self-control, than to be a powerful, impulsive warrior who conquers a physical city. It is better to have complete self-control over your inner life than to seize control of an external city. The lot, the seemingly random decision, is cast physically into the lap, but every single one of its decisions, its final outcomes, is absolutely and irrevocably from the Sovereign Lord alone. It is profoundly better, more peaceful and stable, to have just a dry crust of bread accompanied by deep internal peace and quiet stability, than to have a vast, wealthy house completely full of immense, expensive feasting and constant, painful strife, argument and chaos. A truly prudent, discerning servant, one who possesses integrity, will eventually and rightfully rule over a deeply disgraceful, foolish, and self-destructive son. And that wise servant will rightfully share in the sacred inheritance as if he were one of the immediate family, replacing the one who squandered his opportunity. The crucible is designed for purifying silver, and the intensely hot furnace is designed for purifying gold, extracting the dross. But it is the eternal Lord himself who personally tests and purifies the true intentions of the human heart, assessing its genuine motives. A wicked, dishonest person actively and willingly listens closely to deceptive, manipulative lips, embracing the lie. And a persistent, conscious liar eagerly pays close attention to a destructive, condemning tongue, feeding their own perversity. Whoever openly mocks and shows contempt for the truly poor actively shows deep contempt and rejection for their own Maker, for God who created them. Whoever openly gloats and takes perverse pleasure over another person's deep disaster or misfortune will absolutely not go unpunished. Divine justice is certain. Children's children, the next generation, are the profound crown and enduring honor to the aged, a lasting legacy. And dedicated parents are the greatest pride and enduring joy of their children. Eloquent, persuasive lips are completely unsuited, out of place, for a godless, wicked fool, for they will only twist the truth. But how infinitely worse and more dangerous are lying, deceptive lips when they are attached to a ruler, a leader of the people. A bribe, a corrupt payment, is often seen as a temporary, effective charm by the one who willingly gives it. They are convinced that immediate success will certainly come at every single turn because of their manipulation. Whoever actively seeks to foster, to cultivate, true, lasting love consciously and diligently covers over an offense, choosing forgiveness and restoration. But whoever relentlessly repeats the matter, constantly bringing up past mistakes, actively and painfully separates even the closest, most devoted friends. A necessary firm rebuke consistently impresses and guides a truly discerning person, one who is receptive to truth, far more effectively than 100 painful lashes, the ultimate punishment, would impress a persistent, hard-hearted fool. Evildoers constantly foster and encourage active rebellion and chaos against God's order. The terrifying messenger of death and destruction will inevitably be sent directly against them. It is profoundly and truly better and far safer to encounter a powerful, enraged bear that has been violently robbed of her own beloved cubs than to encounter a persistent, deliberate fool who is stubbornly bent and determined on his own destruction and folly. Evil, once established, will absolutely never, ever completely leave the house of one who consciously chooses to pay back deep evil for an act of sincere good. That betrayal breeds unending conflict, starting a bitter, escalating quarrel is exactly like opening a devastating breach in a strong, secure dam. The water, the chaos, will rush out uncontrollably. Therefore, here is the urgent wisdom. Drop the matter immediately before an argument or dispute violently breaks out and consumes all peace. Acquitting the truly guilty person and actively condemning the truly innocent person are both utterly detestable and repulsive to the perfectly just Lord. He demands truth and fairness. Why then should persistent fools possess readily available money in hand to easily buy necessary wisdom when they are consistently and willfully not able to genuinely understand or grasp its value in the first place? A true, faithful friend consistently loves without condition at all times, standing in solidarity. And a dedicated, true brother is often born for the very purpose of standing with you in a time of deep, painful adversity. The person who possesses absolutely no common sense carelessly shakes hands in pledge and impulsively puts up security for a casual neighbor, entrapping themselves. Whoever actively loves a bitter quarrel and chaos actively loves and pursues sin itself. Whoever consciously builds a high, imposing, arrogant gate, seeking self-exaltation, only actively invites and assures their own deep, inevitable destruction. One whose heart is corrupt, twisted, and deceptive will absolutely not prosper or find peace in life. One whose active tongue is perverse, manipulative, and wicked will certainly and painfully fall headlong into deep trouble and chaos. To have a persistent, rebellious fool for a child only brings profound, lasting grief and heartache to the parents. There is absolutely no true joy, no lasting satisfaction for the devoted parent of a godless, profane fool. A genuinely cheerful, thankful heart is consistently described as good, healing medicine, promoting holistic health. But a crushed, sorrow-filled spirit actively dries up the very bones, destroying vitality. The wicked, the corrupt, willingly accept dark, secret bribes in the shadows in order to actively pervert and twist the natural course of true justice. A truly discerning person consciously and consistently keeps necessary wisdom constantly in view, making it their focus. But a persistent fool's restless, empty eyes constantly wander aimlessly to the very ends of the earth, lacking true focus or purpose. A foolish, rebellious son consistently brings only painful grief to his devoted father, and bitter, deep sorrow to the patient mother who gave birth to him. If imposing a painful fine, a heavy punishment, on the truly innocent is inherently not good or just, surely to flog, to punish unjustly, honest, dedicated officials is absolutely not right or acceptable. The one who actively possesses genuine knowledge consciously and diligently uses their words with great restraint and thought. And whoever possesses true, deep understanding is consistently even-tempered, exercising profound self-control and patience. Even persistent fools are often incorrectly thought to be truly wise if they simply keep their mouths completely silent, and they are considered truly discerning if they manage to hold their careless tongues in restraint. If this time of guided reflection and rest has brought a measure of peace, if a single word has settled your spirit, or if this reading has reminded you that you are not walking alone, I want to ask you from the deepest part of my heart to become a permanent part of this community. Our aim is simple: to create a digital sanctuary, a consistent place of rest and truth for tired hearts. Please click the subscribe button. It's not just a click, it's a silent commitment to choosing peace over chaos, rest over striving. Join us and help us light a quiet candle for others who are still searching in the dark. And now, for our final vital interaction, I invite you to share something truly personal, something truly real. We've explored the great wisdom of the ages, the choices between folly and life. In the comments below, this community is waiting to hear from you. What specific personal story, what private challenge or unexpected joy has this reading of God's ancient wisdom touched in your life today? Tell us what one single, simple, profound truth you learned or were reminded of. What is the deepest, most difficult lesson you are currently applying from the book of Proverbs? Let's connect not just on the surface of belief, but in the trenches of real, daily, imperfect life. Your honest story is a powerful testimony to someone else who is struggling right now. Thank you for choosing to spend this sacred time here. May the wisdom you have received be a constant lamp to your feet and a warm, guiding light to your path. Go in peace, and may the Lord bless you and keep you until we meet again.